لكن تحديت الظروف وخضتها وحدي صبورا مستعينا بالصلاة. كم مرة عصف الأنين بداخلي، كم مرة قد ذاق قلبي من أسى محن تمر، وكم كرهت مصابها.
خالفتم قول الرسول وإنما خالفت من جراه قول فلان، يا حبذا ذاك الخلاف فإنه عين الوفاق لطاعة الرحمن.
وعليكم السلام.
Mufti Menk in recent times has been embroiled in many controversies, and I've highlighted 2 or 3, and many brothers have highlighted it as well. And there's other things that I've that I know, which I've got evidence for, and you know it's old news now, but that was during COVID. All I'm going to say is, if he's watching, which I doubt he is, I'm in Australia. That's what I'm going to say, and he knows what I'm talking about. Just leave it as that. When Hoop Finesse, and as you can see on screen, I did a video on it where his brother Pull Up for Success whitewashed and gaslighted the regime by giving them legitimacy by taking part in their tournament. The same regime that's got hundreds of thousands of Syrian children's blood and the Syrian people in general on his hands. You know, he went out there and lived with the regime and, you know, sugarcoated their tournament and took part in it, where he should have obviously realized what was happening in Syria, but they were acting dumb, you know. And even with my video, you could see that they backtrack on their stories. Sometimes they knew, sometimes they didn't. I believe that. Do you know who was the one that gave him legitimacy? Do you know which liberal modernist gave that person or his brother, both were obviously the twins, legitimacy to go to Syria after 10 years worth of slaughter? Do you know who it was? Mufti Menk. And where's the proof for that? As you can see on screen. So as you can see on screen, we've got messages from Pull Up for Success, okay? And he's communicating with a brother that we know, who was advising him that what he's doing is unacceptable. You're gaslighting the regime, you're giving them legitimacy, look at people they're slaughtered, etc., and pull out, etc. He responded by saying he's seen the pictures. Who? Don't worry, we'll get to that. That doesn't make the situation better or worse, the banners, meaning the regime banners. Because he was playing for a team that was pro-regime and obviously supported Bashar. He knows what this man has done more than I do. Who's that? We'll get to that. I gave him full context. Both imams, okay, both imams. Don't worry, we'll get to it. And they both told me it's still not haram to work or play ball there, okay. It's most definitely not advised, but still isn't a sin. Okay, listen. You can't even call it a disgrace, even though that's far, because it's still work, and the work has no connection towards them whatsoever. Mufti Menk told me I'm not doing haram. So, coming back to me before I play the video. I'd like to ask Mufti Menk, if based on that principle, right, which is ridiculous, let's now expand this as far as possible to see if Mufti Menk will be consistent. Even though he may not even watch this, you could send it to him. If someone wanted to work with Myanmar, you know, the Burma, for example, and to do business with them and to take part in their events, what we know what they're doing with the Rohingya Muslims, would that be acceptable? Would that be acceptable? Because it's just work, right? It's just work. There's no sense of wala wal bara, boycott them, have nothing to do with them. You know, try to create awareness of the sufferings of the Rohingya. Let's carry on. Where does it stop? You know, Israel, Palestine. You know, everything's fine then. You know, we've got no sense of allegiance to them. Everything's fine. Okay? Everything's fine. And now what we're going to do is play a video where Mufti Menk acknowledges that he doesn't mention him by name, but I'll show you Pull Up for Success's comments after. Have a watch.
I was thinking about it this morning when a brother sent me a message asking a piece of advice what he should do. He's gotten himself into a situation, and I gave him a little bit of advice, and I was thinking to myself, imagine on social media the people who think they follow you don't actually know you. but they will judge you based on an edited clip of yours, and I've seen this so many times, or based on a photograph, or based on anything. They don't know you personally, they've never interacted with you, but they will judge you, and they will cancel you, and they will even call for others to harm you. That's how bad the world has become.
So you heard Mufti Menk, okay, making mention of, they will cancel you and whatnot. Okay, that's fine. He's entitled to his opinion. So who was he talking about? Okay, let's pull up for success, confirm who he was talking about. As you can see on screen, pull up for success mentions he was talking about my situation. This was his reflection. Y'all should take his advice. And this is why I don't trust many, because most of us don't truly practice the character of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as much as we say we do. We hurt, ridicule, blame, bash, and character defame other Muslims for what? It's so disgusting. I will show you exactly what he said to me on WhatsApp, but I promised him I wouldn't disclose our conversations to the public. The legitimacy was given by none other than Mufti Menk. Okay, that said he was doing nothing wrong. Okay, him playing ball for a club that's associated with the regime. Nothing wrong with that at all. Going to the regime territory, taking photos outside Masjid Khalid bin Walid, the same mosque that they destroyed. He's doing nothing wrong, and he knows more about it. So imagine that. He was the one also that flew out to Srinagar, okay, and performed the janazah of the son of a pro-occupying force. Okay.
Mursaleen Pirzada, yourself, being the bride here this evening, do you give me the authority to get you married to Yawar Mir in the presence of your father who's given his blessings, and his father, your mother, meaning all the parents who are seated here, and all those who are here? Do you give me the permission to get you married to him with the mahar?
Let's just summarize the issue at hand. Number one, he gives legitimacy, recent one by the way, he gives legitimacy or endorses or gives reassurance to someone who is gaslighting and whitewashing the regime's crimes. He says it's absolutely fine, there's no sin involved, there's no issues, there's no betrayal, none of it. The Syrian people obviously don't mean anything. Someone could go flying from the other side of the world to the regime's territories to play ball for a pro-regime team. So let's see if he would allow someone to do that for Russia. Guarantee you won't. You know why? Because he wouldn't, touch anything that would put a dent in his status. Okay, so let's see if Mufti Menk, let's leave religion to one side. Just say someone wanted to play for a Russian organized event. Okay, whilst what the crimes they're doing in Ukraine. Okay, and Mufti Menk says, no, it's perfectly fine. Whoever wants to go to play for Russia is perfectly fine. He wouldn't do that, would he? Because he knows the backlash that will happen. But behind, look what he's doing. Enforcing the occupation of our Kashmiri brothers and sisters. There was shortages of imams that could have performed that nikah, right? But you wanted to fly to the other side of the world and perform, and the Kashmiris weren't happy. Okay, then he, tried to give a retraction. I've done a video on that. You can see there's a card. You could go and click it and watch that video that I did. 3. He flew to the other side of the world again in Dubai. He's stuck it up on those air miles, isn't he? And whilst Masjid al-Aqsa was being attacked and desecrated by the Zionists, he opens fast, like he didn't know that this table was going to be with X and Y and Z, and he was taking photos. He just, he loves to ease the blow. Oh no, I didn't know. Oh no. We're seeing past it because you're doing it so many times. With a pro-Zionist, supporter of the Zionist regime, and he's there opening fast. You could have just refused. It's an opportunist. It's like that Omar Suleiman. Now what we're going to do, we've got that out of the way just to show you. Okay, let's just finish off this drink. Bismillah. Occasionally, I might need some land.
لكن تحديت الظروف وخضتها وحدي صبورا مستعينا بالصلاة. كم مرة عصف الأنين بداخلي، كم مرة قد ذاق قلبي من أساه محن تمر، وكم كرهت مصابها لكن رأيت الخير يسكب في أنا. كم مرة قد ضقت من عظم البلاء، بشر وشيطان يحاصرني أبا. كم مرة قد أظلم الدرب ضحى وتحدر الدمع وضاقت بي رؤى.